Hi, welcome to another Darkling's Artcast with Chrysus Darkling and Jupiter Darkling. Today's topic is art a forgotten intelligence? So we're going to talk a little bit about our own experiences in school and how we feel about art being a forgotten intelligence. Personally, I remember when I was in high school, we had music class and we had something called Beeldende Vorming, which is an art class. And we were supposed to have drama as well, but that never came through for some reason. I don't know why. And I remember there's two other girls in my class who were very good at painting and drawing. And they were my friends. And we had this one art teacher, not to name names, but one day, at the end of the year, we were supposed to collect our artwork. And a few of my paintings were missing, and so were from the other two girls. Then we went on a school trip to Denmark, and it turned out that this teacher had taken artworks and displayed it in his own house. Because another teacher said she went over to have a cup of coffee, and she looked at us on the bus to Denmark and went, "Oh yeah, I was at blah 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 to have a cup of coffee, and I saw your artwork on his wall, and I was blown away." So, to me, that does say that art is a form of intelligence, because why else would you appreciate it so much? And honestly, why else would you steal it from a bunch of teenagers?
Yeah, and from a young age of art's always been my strength. And when I was at school, we had to do topics, subjects, art, music, this and that. And now a lot of people can't draw, and is that the forgotten value of art? Because the masses, everyone's like, "Oh, I can't draw. And I remember when at primary school, the teachers, for some reason, all seemed to go out of class, and so many students would approach me like, "Oh, can you draw me this? Can you draw me that?" So I found that I had to draw their work, and out of kindness, I'm a people pleaser. I found it hard to say no, and it was like guilt tripping me, like, "Oh, draw my work and all that." And I found I always did that. So back at primary school, I don't mean to sound like I'm bragging or anything like that, but I was one of the top students, and there was as a reward once, there was an handful of people that got selected to like do an art course, and it was literally a fun day, and you could mess about with arts and this and that. We had a little trip out to town, and found when we went to town, we found out a few things that the city I live in, Hull, a few plans they had for creations and artistic things that they was doing. So we found all that out, and so I was one of the top in primary school for art, and I always got asked to draw other people's work, and because I was like known like to be good at my art, I neglected my own work when it came to it. So when we handed our work in, the teacher was like, "Oh, you're underperforming." Yeah, I was underperforming because I was drawing everyone else's artworks. But then, because they've got to get through that task at that point, that's it. They've got to do it. But yeah, art ain't valued in society in that way. But yeah, when we're all at school, we all do music, we do art. Then it's questioned like, "Oh, where's that in life?" But yeah, in my culture, I don't know about other countries, but we all do some sort of creative thing. But that's it, because the masses are not, musical or artistic or anything, and that's it. It's do the work for them. So they were all cheating, and yet I was neglecting my own work.
Mm-hmm.
And then when it came to secondary school, then because academically and stuff, I struggled with dyslexia and things. So I was taken out of my art lessons on that, and yet it was the one subject I was top at.
Mm-hmm.
So I asked one of the teachers who I was put in this special department And it was like this little mini special school that I was put in. So when I asked why you took me out my strongest lesson, they was like, and they laughed and they went, you don't need art. But for me, it was personal.
Yeah.
Because one thing I could get a grade A, top marks back then, was art.
Yeah.
So I went to special school, did nothing for me. Nothing came of it. But they made me feel like, it's nothing. You know, like, you don't need art. And if I was to say to them, I want to be an artist, they'll just laugh.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh, everything's academic. So my question was back then, if that's the case, why are we doing art as a subject?
Yeah.
Is it just to fill hours in? And I suppose it is, because when I went to college, a lot of people did photography to fill their hours in.
Yeah.
And the tutor at the time used to get mad about that. Now, I was serious about that. I come into that because special needs, got took out my art classes, and you spend 5 years at high school in Britain, and about the middle year, halfway point of your school, you've got to then choose what you're going to study in the last 2 years or so. And you've got 5 subjects that you've got to put.
Mm-hmm.
And whatever you put first is priority. And they'll make it priority. And it can be anything. It can be art again, music, whatever. So because I was taken out with art, I dropped. I lost all interest with art because I was told by these teachers that art is nothing.
Yeah.
So, but I needed some sort of creativity. So I put music as number 1. And I put art last.
Yeah.
So, and I know the reason, looking back now in hindsight, I know why. And then I did music. That went wrong because, I was interested in music and creativity, and I always relate art and music. I'd love to be in a band. I see the process the same. Oh, musicians and artists, like physical artists and stuff, create the same process. So in that way, like, it should have been art and then music, but music became that. But in a way, music came from nowhere. So I just put music. I knew, looking back, that replaced art. So then when I do music, we got to choose an instrument that we wanted to play. And they said, it could be anything. And we'll get somebody in because you've picked this as your specialist subject now. So in music, for all them years before, you always play a keyboard and stuff like that. So I put guitar because I wanted to put guitar. Then I was down on as a specialist for piano. I was like, well, I played keyboard. And I questioned her. I was like, I wanted to play a guitar. I was like, yeah, well, we can't get anyone in and this and that. So straight away, I was disinterested. It gone wrong already. I replaced this with art. I knew that. So I lost it with music as well. I just deflated with it. So finish school. Then you've got to pick topics in your college. You get this booklet, all these topics. It's so exciting to read. I saw photography. I picked photography. I wanted to do photography. And I knew what it was. Looking back again, didn't know at the time. And I knew, looking back now, I know now that it was about, because I've been told art was just this, it's nothing. Photography was a way of having this normal job.
Yeah. Being
creative and being normal, because you've got photographers, wedding photographers, portrait photographers. So it was my way of doing art again, but being creative. Again, art was off the topic. Totally abandoned music again because it all gone wrong. Next minute, I'm at college doing this. Eventually, in one of our podcasts that we're doing, I talk about that and I go back to art again.
Yeah.
But photography, I developed so many things and techniques with photography. But photography, I knew, was my way of having this normal job. This, where you fit into 9 to 5, it's acceptable. And I know, looking back now, it's because the teachers told me. I wish, in a way, I pushed for my art in the first place.
No, exactly. Like, in Dutch schools, I don't know all Dutch schools, because you have different type of schools in the Netherlands. But we had a what we call vakkenpakket, which translates to a course package. And you had 4 or 5 course packages you could choose from. And then on top of that, because those course packages had fixed classes, and then as an extra bonus, you could add an extra class of your interest. So I picked the course package that had art in it and music. And of course, funnily enough, my interest besides art was biology. So that was my extra course, biology, because that was my favorite subject. But it was just a bad way of art. We barely got any real art lectures. I remember when in the last year of high school, because I did HAVO, which is higher education, is 5 years instead of 4 years. And the highest of education is VWO, which is 6 years of high school. So I did 5 years of high school for HAVO, and the last year when we got trained for our final exams, my teacher, for some reason, thought it was appropriate to use his time to, like, go over all the subjects that we had that was going to come on the exam. Again, he thought it would be appropriate to talk, half a day, talk about blue jeans. So we had these days where you would be prepped for your exams, and then you had, like, from, 8:30 in the morning till, like, break for dinner. You had art class, and then the second half of the day you had a different class to get you ready for your exams. But the whole morning we just listened to a topic of blue jeans instead of actually doing art or learning about the art subjects that were going to be in our exam. And we were never discouraged on art, but the course package that I had was nicknamed pretpakket, which means the fun package, the easy package, the package people choose when they can do shit. Sorry for my language. When they just are not good at, like, the other things. And that does hurt, because when you have certain strengths that are not academic and you're more a creative person, you're like, okay, people might see it as the fun package, but it's not that. It's just playing to your strengths. And it's not a lot of fun when you know you're struggling with academics, because I had to drop mathematics. I have this calcula, but I couldn't get it diagnosed because it cost €750 back then, and 250 every month for remedial teaching. And to be honest, I come from a poor family, so that was just not an option. And my maths teacher, he was very understanding, and he knew that I had it, but knew I couldn't get it diagnosed. So he fought for me to move up a year and to drop maths, because the next year maths would be a legal requirement. And if I had flunked that year and had to repeat it, I would have not been able to get my high school diploma. So he fought for me, and I'm still grateful to this day that he did that for me. Because otherwise I would have never got my high school diploma, and I would have never gotten to college or uni or whatever you call it. And in the end, I got to do art for in my so-called pretpakket. But it is so undervalued. It's just 1 or 2 hours a week. You get these very weird assignments that don't make sense at all. And it's just that, like, they're mocking your intelligence, because everything is so academic. Everything is so like, oh, you have to learn your languages, oh, you have to do mathematics, oh, you have to do science, you have to do physics, you have to do this, you have to do that. And it's just completely forgotten that art is a form of intelligence as well, because not everyone can do art. And that's the beauty of it. Because if everyone could do the same things, how boring would the world be?
So when I was at college, same thing happened. Was doing photography, and then that was my first year, and I think it was my second year. You got so many hours that you've got to do. So I remember thinking, I was like, I got back into my art again, for the first time in years after I went off it, and I thought I'll give that a go again.
Yeah.
And I couldn't do it again because I was told I was not academic enough. So I couldn't do it. So I never did that in college.
Yeah.
And I remember thinking, like, it feels like discrimination. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
again, I'm not academic at all, and I've got my struggles. And again, because things cost money and stuff, diagnosis.
Yeah.
But you've got your struggles, and you are what you are, diagnosed or not.
Mm-hmm.
It's always there, you know, and you kind of have an idea of things that are wrong with you, and the struggles that you have. Next thing, like, so could never do art, so I forgot that, and then carried on with photography at college, ended up at uni, and it was just, you're paying for the course personally, and that's what it is in England. You pay for the course, and I was there, and it was like, what was I paying for? Because he would talk about life, the main tutor, and we had all these, there was like 5 different topics that we had, classes that we kind of had. So you had like photography, the main thing, that was the core.
Mm-hmm.
Depending on what you was doing, it was like web design, and then there was what we called, I can't remember what it stood for, but CATS, and that was the academic side of it.
Yeah.
And we also did video editing and things like that. So, but the main core of it, now normally universities would have the lectures every couple of weeks and do the work, go off and do their own thing. Because we was paying for the course, and yet we had to go every day and listen to these like 3-hour lectures that was literally about life, nothing to do with photography.
Yeah.
And he was, I remember once this teacher came in and she asked, like, from the fashion department, she was asking for some photography students to photograph them in the studio. At that point, our tutor was on about something totally irrelevant, how we can shut a supermarket down. I got his point, but not on topic, about how we can shut a supermarket down if 50 people refuse to buy packaging in one go and this and that. And I remember once, for some reason, we were about TVs and skips. At that point, this tutor comes in, we need a photography student to photograph fashion. That is relevant.
Yeah.
And he was like, excuse me, do you mind? We're having a lecture here and stuff like that. And he was so rude about it. And I started to realise what we're paying for.
Yeah.
And it was chaos, the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
In the end, the council scrapped the course, and yeah, exactly. I wonder why. It wasn't relevant.
Yeah.
But a lot of people, and that I think adds to the old people laugh at it, because when I applied right at the beginning at college, and I applied for photography, the tutor then realised people was just doing fillers photography. Oh, it's easy, they'll just do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, just fill my time in. And he got so mad, but I got him. I understood him. And we had this induction day and stuff like that, and straight away he shouted at everyone. And he was a strict teacher, but I appreciated him and valued him. And he says, if you're here because you think you're just clicking a camera, he says, get out now. And he's screaming. And so many people couldn't deal with it. There was oh, what's wrong? What's his problem?
Yeah.
I went on with the course, but I got him straight away on that. I understood that people are going to do it for fillers.
Yeah.
And the people who do it for fillers, they soon drop when they do commit to it. Mm-hmm. They soon drop out. And I knew his frustration on that, because he's seen so many people do the course and drop out because it's just filler work.
Yeah.
So I could see his frustration that photography is complex. It's not, because what I did, it was traditional dark work stuff, and it wasn't, digital was the thing then. It kind of just started.
Mm-hmm.
But the course was traditional. Forget whether it was digital or not, it was right back to the basics. And that is complex. You've got to know your stuff.
Yeah.
So, dropouts, he had frustration. But I got him straight away on that induction day. I got him. And people were so quick to criticise, like, oh, he's offended me, he's shouting at us and all that, and but it's the creativity again.
Yeah.
And it's that magic again with photography that you can capture, really, light in a box.
Yeah.
It captures it, and everyone forgets that, especially when it's traditional, because I find it strange how digital photography didn't come before traditional, because traditional seems so complex.
Yeah.
We had silver in the paper, you develop it with light, then you've got 3 different liquids that you develop it on, and it's so complex. But digital is just click pixels, that's it.
Yeah.
And I'm pleased I did all that. And again, down to the old, forgotten intelligence, it is because people just do photography for a laugh.
Yeah.
You know, but yet they won't do something like English literature with poetry, because they know that'll get a bit complex.
Yeah.
And yeah, they're both creative in different ways.
Yeah, so I remember when I went to uni, for those who don't know, I studied game art and animation. The first year of uni, you have this collective year where you do every course that the school offers. And you can choose the courses yourself. You can choose like game art, you can choose coding, you can choose media coding, you can choose photography and graphic design, and so on and so on and so on. So I chose photography at some point. And even though I knew I wanted to do game art, but you had to do the collective year. So when I did the collective year and did photography, I found that the majority of people there, even though it was a creative school, the majority of people would choose photography as a filler, like you just said. They were like, oh, I know what I want to do, but photography, oh, that'll be easy, just a click on camera and you're done. No. And I found it sad that I had a teacher that was incredibly strict. And I don't mean it in like a good strict way. No, I mean in a strict way of almost borderline abusive. Because I remember there was this girl in my class, and she had a muscular disease. I can't remember what it was, but she was in a wheelchair, and she really wanted to do the photography course, but she didn't have the strength in her hands to click the camera or to set up her sets. Kind as I am, I helped her out with building her sets, and I had to position the camera the way she wanted it on her wheelchair, and then I would have to, and she would look through it, and then I would click it for her, so she got the photo that she wanted. But I got abused for that because I was not working on my own project. And I'm like, I'm sorry, but who is going to help her then? And in that way, we forget our humanity in intelligence as well. Because art form is an intelligence. Every form of art is an intelligence, because not everyone can do it. And the fact that a lot of people who are creative forget that, like, let's say an illustrator forgets that photography is an art form that is a form of intelligence. They forget that. Same with where a photographer can forget that a fashion designer is also a form of intelligence and can forget that. And that's where I think we should all be a bit more mindful of each other and realize that every art form is a form of intelligence. Because not everyone can do that. Like, yeah, I can draw, but can I knit a sweater? No, I cannot. And that's art as well. And my point I was making with the girl who couldn't click the camera is that even the teacher forgot that there is humanity in intelligence. The girl knew exactly the way she wanted her set to be built like. So I helped her build the set in her mindset, like the way she wanted it. And then I got grief for it, because I wasn't working on my own project. And that's just very upsetting, where even a teacher forgets that someone who has the intelligence to do an art form but cannot physically do it because of a physical limitation, even forgets that there is like intelligence in it, where the teacher just blatantly throws that away.
So again, what I was on about earlier, same thing again, that you was open air out with this humanity thing, but what was I getting? Abuse on the other end. Now, you got abuse for that.
Yeah.
Now, people was abusing me because they couldn't draw.
Yeah.
They couldn't draw, and I had to draw for them.
Yeah.
Now, I was helping them out, and you was helping her out. Totally different reasons.
Yeah.
They was abusing me, yet you got abuse. And why? Because people can't... That's why, because we was forced to do art. People can't draw. Oh, just lazy approach. Rich will do it. He'll draw it.
Yeah.
And... Yeah, it was no different what we was doing. I was helping people out. You was helping her out.
Yeah.
But people took advantage of me. But intelligence is where it comes from in that way, that because people couldn't do it, and that's it now. You take 10 people and have a party, and you can all get involved in a quiz show, a game show, and you can all compete to show off who knows what.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's general knowledge. It's useless. But yeah, if you got 10 people at a party and say, like, right, let's all draw realistic.
Oh, yeah.
But people can do it because it's a communication. So again, and this is where it gets deep, because it's about the intelligence. The fact that animals can't express art as we can.
No.
The fact we've got a thumb, the fact we can light fires, people forget what intelligence is. And yeah, it's an intelligence to remember things for a quiz show. But people are forgetting the fact we've got a thumb, we can talk, we can communicate.
Yeah.
But not only have we got a voice box, so many creatures in the world, it's an intelligence that they've got their own communication.
Yeah.
And it's not as complex as us, and again, that's what makes us seen as this ultimate intelligence. But the fact we've got a thumb is our voice, because without a thumb, you can't create art. But a thumb is the reason why we can light fires.
Yep.
Now, I can't remember off the top of my head now, but there was 5 requirements for intelligence, and people will be shocked how dumb them 5 things have to be. One of them is the fact that we've got a thumb and we can light fires.
Yeah.
And from what I remember, I don't think art was in it. But isn't that the reason why we can create art visually?
Yeah. Exactly.
Now, lighting fires is basic. There's no expression. It's a skill.
Mm-hmm.
The thumb's there for the skill. And again, that's what makes us different to other species. But yeah, art. And it's forgotten again. From what I remember, you know, it's like that. It's the magic. It was back in caveman days.
Exactly.
And it's forgotten about. But yet, art is always that record of what happened at the time. So why are we, like, forgetting art when, you know, you've got scientists, archaeologists, whatever and stuff they'll find a cave, discover art.
Yeah.
Created by cavemen days, and there it is. It's like, oh, and that's so valuable. You know, it's like that. Oh wow, that captures the time. And or it might be going off on one of your with conspiracy theories, but there's elements of dinosaurs with hunters hunting dinosaurs.
Yeah.
And that could be a different topic altogether. But in art about capturing things at the time, even now, art is about capturing what is now.
Yeah.
Now, there's no written words from my knowledge on that.
No.
Yet you've got the ancient Egyptians, which was visual, which, yeah, their language was captured in that way, but artistic. Looking at it, it's a form of art in a way. And that, again, I could be wrong, but it's maybe the only one or one of the only languages that is so visual that it's been captured on record. And because on the top of my head, and this could be my ignorance, but I think we can all safely say
hieroglyphs.
Yeah, that's it. Yeah, is an alien language visually captured, which is similar in a way to caveman art. When you look at it, it can be pretty similar.
Definitely.
Like, you won't be surprised if that language, written work, was on caveman. It's so similar in a way. It's so visual. So why is it that that language is captured from Egypt, and yet it's so visual, but no other language? I mean, for all we know, there could be an absolute, and there will be probably, and the reason why cave art is captured, the conditions are perfect for it, and it's faded over time, but it's not been weathered. But they expressed it. There's so many things, and again, art is down to our core, because why is it we've not captured written language, but yet caveman days, caveman art is visual art,
Yeah.
and yet language, academic stuff is so valuable in our life. Well, where was the written work in caves then?
Yeah.
So is art actually our communication? Because I'm guessing they didn't have a written language. And now it's all forgotten.
No, exactly. And it is quite sad that a modern day society that values so many things just forgets about the arts altogether. They just see it as a form of entertainment and not a form of intelligence or a form of communication or even a form of escapism. They're just like taking it for granted.
And we're all impressed when dogs are capable of, as far as I know, understanding 50 words, and you see it, and you say to a dog, sit. We all know that's intelligence from the animal.
Yeah.
Who knows what intelligence they've really got, just because they ain't got a voice box or express.
Exactly.
We can only go by what we're seeing from that. So why is it then that that's impressive with a dog? So what if a dog literally could pin, all right, another cat, because why? They haven't got a thumb.
Exactly.
So does that make them dumb? The fact they ain't got a voice box is the same thing. They ain't got a thumb to pain and express.
Yeah.
They ain't got a voice box to what we've got. It don't make them dumb.
No.
And who knows what animals think on? And again, it boils down to intelligence again. We all laugh at animals, but we don't know.
No.
Apparently, I've found out that cats are more intelligent than human babies. So, who knows what they're going through?
Yeah.
But does that make them thick? Dumb? Whatever it is? No. And that's the thing. We've got that unfair advantage that we've got a voice box. We've got a thumb.
Yeah.
And we forget our thumb is our voice box for visual.
Yeah.
Because lose your thumb, or both thumbs, your art has not got the skills it's got. You could still do whatever because we've got the intelligence to do whatever. So we probably would still create more better work than an animal would. But again, it goes on and on.
Yeah.
And that is forgotten intelligence in that way.
Yeah, and this might sound a bit weird, but we have guinea pigs. And one of my guinea pigs who no longer is with us, Buffles, we made her paint a little artwork. We just splashed some paint on a mini canvas, put a plastic sheet over it, and let her walk all over it with her favorite veggies on the other side. So in a weird way, she has created art. And that is a human manipulation to make an animal create art. Of course, the guinea pig did not come in contact with paint, so no worries about that. But we still have it, and it looks really cute. It's a little abstract painting that our guinea pig has made. And in a way, that's intelligence as well, because the animal relates, like, okay, there's this weird thing that I'm looking at, but there's food on the other side. I need to get to the food. So they completely disregard the little weird thing that they're going to walk on to get to the food. And that's intelligence as well. And for a fact, like, I know guinea pigs can see multiple colors. They can guess height. And everyone thinks they're such dumb animals, but they're actually quite intelligent. And that goes for a lot of different animals. And my point is, there are so many different forms of intelligence that people just don't recognize or don't realize. And art is one of them.
And again, so you've got these abstract pranks that go on, where people are literally like, and there's different levels of abstract and stuff, so people look and go, Fabio could do that, I can do that. And, or your guinea pig's done that. But exactly, so we know that process, what you just said there about intelligence and how we created that with art, obviously with the help of us. your guinea pig created that. But then imagine putting that piece of art in a gallery and saying that a human made it. And that's where pranks happen.
Yeah.
Because a lot of animals like monkeys, pigs, elephants have created abstract art.
Yeah.
And you've got these...
Art snobs, basically.
Yeah, art snobs that are like, oh yeah, and they'll analyse it, and then the prank is revealed, and it's like, yeah, a monkey did that.
Yeah.
And there they are, analysing. And that's what I'm saying, that it's never going to be on that level of what we've got. And that's why I say there's a level of abstract that we can do.
Yeah.
And you've got to ask yourself, I think, that what makes a good abstract in that way is, could an animal do that? Could a monkey do that?
Yeah.
And obviously, looking at that guinea pig artwork, of course, anyone could do that.
Mm-hmm.
But that could be our prank on that. And again, with intelligence, are people so drawn into this snobbery? And that's like us putting that piece in a gallery and saying, like, yeah, we did this and that. And then reveal, actually, it was the guinea pig.
Yeah.
Or with the help of us. But it's fascinating because there is a guinea pig has created art with the help of us.
Yeah.
You know, but that's the difference. There's that art snobbery and this, you know, could they do this, could they do that? A 5-year-old, a monkey, a pig, an elephant.
Yeah.
And there's been so many pranks where people have been caught out, these art snobs.
Yeah.
But that's the difference. And, all right, a monkey doing that and an elephant doing that, who knows? They obviously must know what they're doing because I've seen the images, the footage of an elephant doing. That you can see they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
They know it's not natural what they're doing. But then it's laughed at because, oh, an elephant did do that. No, but it's not natural for them to paint on a monkey. But when you look at the animals doing it, you can see they're having fun.
Yeah.
And it's on a different level. And that's where I think when somebody does something that, yes, a monkey or an elephant could do, all right, that's us having fun, but don't overanalyze it to the point of this, you know, just the snobbery.
Yeah.
And I think that's where a lot of people who are not into art, that's all they see. The banana with the tape.
Yeah.
It's all everyone knows about that, and then everyone laughs at it. Oh, that's art, and that's why people think art is stupid in a way.
Yep, exactly.
And right, I know art is expression, but I do believe art is a skill to what humans can do.
Mm-hmm.
Definitely. And I'm sure you train a monkey enough, they can tape a banana to that.
Yeah.
I think that's what makes us different, that we can create stuff that other people can't in that way.
Yeah. And that's where I've forgotten intelligence in such a way, because a lot of people just discard art altogether. They feel like, you know, anyone can do that. Well, if anyone can do it, then you paint the Mona Lisa, for example.
And again, I think this touches now on a different topic from what we're talking about, because it comes down to the investment thing with art, and different topic again on that.
Yeah. Well, we'll save that for next time. And thank you so much for listening. This has been the Darkling's Artcast. And hopefully we'll have you with us next time.